Hi everyone, welcome to Fessa Pro. In this video, I'm going to explain you a Renko stock intraday strategy. This is a low risk, low reward strategy. I've implemented this code by using Fire's API. So if you want, you can implement this by using any other broker or any other market you want. You can use it on crypto market, forex market. Like it is like instrument agnostic, so you can use it anywhere you want. If you want to access the code that I'm using in this entire video, you just go to the chat room, the comment section, and you will find the WhatsApp link. Just click on the WhatsApp link, connect us on WhatsApp. Just let us know that you want the code, and we will give the code for free to you. Okay, it's free. You don't have to pay anything for the code. Now, this is a low risk, low reward strategy. And I've also added a feature of paper trading in this. So when you get the code, try to run it in the paper trading environment first. Once you're confident, once you feel like, yeah, the strategy is working, you play with the parameters, change the parameter, and then you can deploy it in the live environment. I don't suggest you to directly deploy it on the live market. First, play with the paper trading environment and then switch to the live environment. Now this entire video is divided into four parts. In the first part, I'm going to explain you what are Renko chart, how do they work. In the second part, I'm going to explain you the strategy, what are the different parameters I'm using and how you can change it and how you can change the risk reward ratio and all. In the third part, I'm going to explain you how to use the code, because a lot of people, they just take the code and they try to run it and they don't understand how to use it. So that's why I've spent like 10 to 15 minutes just to explain you how to use the code. And in the last part, I'm going to explain you the entire code line by line. Okay, so this is how the video is divided. So let's start with the first part, that is how Renko chart works. Let's try to understand what Renko charts are and how do they work. So this is the candle chart you can see in front of you. This is Bank Nifty index. And right now the time frame is 1 minute. Okay, so I just have to click on the candle and change this candle to Renko. And this is how the Renko chart will look like. Now in Renko chart, the most important parameter is the brick size. How do you change the brick size? If you do a right click, if you click on setting, you will see the box size assignment method. So right now I've selected it to traditional. There are two options. One is traditional and one is ATR. When you click on traditional, you can give your own box size and the box size can be anything. And when you click on ATR, it will use the current ATR, whatever the current ATR is with 14 period, and it will use that number as the box size. Okay, so this is how you change your setting to from candle to Renko, and this is how you can change the box size. Let's try to understand now. So I'll just change this to traditional, and right now the box size is 25 and I've clicked on OK, and this is how the chart looks like. Let me explain you how a candle chart is converted to a Renko chart. Now remember that if I change the time frame, right now I'm on 1 minute time frame. If I change this to let's say 5 minute time frame, the chart will also change accordingly. If I change to 30 minute, again the chart will change. Okay, this is because when you are on a 1 minute time frame, like 1 minute candle time frame, it is using the closing price of the candle to calculate the Renko. And when you move your time frame from 1 minute to 5 minute, it will use the closing price of the 5 minute. So it will look at that closing price and accordingly it will calculate the Renko bricks. Okay, so let's try to understand how they are calculated. Now the biggest difference between candle and Renko is the time frame. Okay, in candle chart you will see a candle at every timestamp. So if it's a 1 minute time, if the interval is 1 minute, so at every minute you'll see a candle. But in Renko you will only see a brick. So in Renko we call it a brick. You can also call it candle brick, whatever, but it's the right term to use is brick. So in Renko chart, you will only see a brick when there is a price movement. Whereas in a candle chart, you'll see a candle when there is a time movement, or you can say when the time moves. Because every minute or every interval, there will be a new candle. So let's take an example. Let's say you have a stock and its current price is 100. Okay. And brick size is 5 right now. So I've given 5 unit as the brick size. So what does this mean? And remember that the reference, this is my starting point. My starting point is 100. Whatever the starting point you will take, accordingly the chart will slightly change. Okay, slightly. I'll show you the what do I mean by this in few minutes. Now, if the price moves from 100 to 101, nothing will happen. If the price moves to 104, then also nothing will happen. Why? Because brick size is 5. So a new brick will only form if there is a price movement of at least 5 points, either in the upward direction or in the downward direction. If it moves to 106, you'll see a one positive break. If it moves to 94, then you will see a negative break. So there is a requirement of at least 5 point movement. So let's say at 10:15, there was a price movement of 6 point. So you will see a green brick. Okay. So the lower level will be 100 and the upper level will be 105. Okay. You will only see a green brick if there is a price movement of whatever the brick size is. Now let's say it took 1 hour and in 1 hour again there was a movement of 5 point. So right now we are on 11:15. So a next brick now at 11:15 the price has moved to 111. So you will see a new green brick now. The brick size will be same, but this level will be 110. So now we have three levels. One is 100, one is 105, one is 111. Now see the difference here. The difference is 1 hour. Now in 5 minutes itself, there was a major movement and the price has moved to, let's say, 116. So in 5 minutes, this is 5 minutes, this is 60 minutes. Okay, this is 11:20. At 11:20, price has moved to 106. So you'll see another brick, another green brick. So the price should be above what? It should be above 105. Only then you will see a green brick. So this is the difference. Okay, you will only see a brick if there is a price movement. I can show you. So here you can, right now, what is the brick size in this chart? The brick size is 25. And these are the 25 brick size brick that you can see. I'll just change the time frame to 30 minutes to 1 minute. And I'll show you. Now this brick, you look at the time. Here you can see the time. Okay. This is 11:58. The next brick is 12. The next brick is 12:16. Then 12:34. So the difference in the time is different. Okay. A new brick can form at any time. This is one of the most important thing that you should understand about Renko. And this is what makes Renko so different. It only creates a candle or it only creates a brick when there is a price movement. It doesn't care about the time. It might take 1 hour, it might take one day, it might take 1 year if you have a big brick size. So if you want to create a successful Renko strategy, this brick size is the parameter that you need to think about. If you can come up with a good brick size, then you can make this strategy work. Otherwise, your strategy will fail. Now, right now we are at, let's say 100 and, okay, wait, this is 105, 110, this will be 115, not 105, my bad. So let's say the current price is 116. And from 116, let's say it has moved to 111 again. Okay, so from 116, it has moved to 111. Do you think anything will happen? No, because right now the price is between this, so nothing will happen. So the price should at least move below this level. Okay, even if it moves below this level, still I will not see any new candle because the price should breach this level. So if the current price from 116, if it moves to 104, okay, if there is a 10-point move, only then I'll see a negative break. So this is green brick, this is red brick. And when will I see the red brick? When there is a price movement of 10 points. So from 116, so let's say here we have 116 and in 1 minute, okay, in 1 minute, so we have 11, 29, 21, price has moved to 104. So there is a 10-point movement. Only then you'll see a red brick. Okay, now when you will see a next red brick, you'll see a next red brick if the price moves to below 100. Let's say it has moved to 99. So you'll see another red brick. This level is what? This level is 100. Okay, and let's say it has moved below 100, that is 99. So this is how green bricks are formed and this is how red bricks are formed. Now whatever candle size you choose, like if you choose 1 minute, it will look at the closing price of 1 minute. If you take 5 minutes, it will look at the closing price of 5 minutes, and accordingly the Renko chart will change as per the time frame. Okay, now few more things that you should know. What is the closing price? So here, when you look at this green candle, what will be the closing price? The closing price of this candle will be 105. Okay, the closing price of this candle will be what? 110. Closing price of this candle will be 105. Now, what will be the closing price of this red candle? This red candle closing price will be 105 again. Okay, so from 115 closing price, it has moved to 105. And then the next closing price will be what? Next closing price will be 100. So this is how the closing price changes. So when it's a green brick, let's say this is a green brick. Okay, so what will be the open, high, low, close? Open will be this, high will be this, low will be this, and close will be this. So high and low will be same for a green brick, and open and low will be same for the green brick. But what if it's a red brick? If it's a red brick, this is my open. Okay, this is my high, and this is my low, and this is my close. So in case of a red brick, open and high will be same, and low and close will be same. Now, why am I telling you this? Because when we will look at the Python code, we are going to get the closing prices. So we have written a code to convert that closing prices to a open, high, low, close of a brick size, of a candle brick. Now, why do I do this? Because if you want to calculate any indicator, you might need like open, high, low, close. So even a Renko can have a open, high, low, close, but this is how the open, high, low, close will look like. I'll just show you. Let's take a look at a green brick. So see here, you can see open, high, low, close. I want you to notice that when I hover on a green brick, my open and my high, sorry, my open and my low is same. You can see when it's a green brick, my open and low is same. I want you to notice that open and low is same. Okay. And my high and close is same. So when I am on a green brick, my high and my close is also same. But this changes when I am on a green brick. So when I'm on a green brick, my open and high is same. You can see here open and high. So when I'm on a green brick, open and high is same, low and close is same. So when you're on a red brick, the open, high, low is slightly different. When you're on a green brick, open, high, low is slightly different. Now that you know what are Renko charts, now we can understand the strategy. So this strategy, we will take an example of Kotak Mahindra Bank. So first what we will need to do, we need to calculate the brick size. Now, how will you calculate brick size? For that, you have to go to previous day data. So if I just click on candle, I have to go to the previous day data. So this is, today is 18th of Feb. So I'm going to 17th of Feb. And here I have to add an indicator called ATR. Okay. So ATR will calculate the average true range. Average true range means how much a stock is expected to move up or down. So we are going to calculate this on 5 minute for the previous day's data. So on previous day, 5 minute, the ATR is somewhere around 4 rupees, right? So this 4 will be my brick size. So I'll change this to 1 minute now. Okay. And I'll click here and I'll change this to Renko and I'll change the brick size to 4. Setting 4. Okay. So this is how my current Renko chart looks like. You can see this is when the day started and we are here. Now what we will do, if you look at the theory that I provided, this is the entire strategy overview. So we will calculate the ATR, 14 days ATR on 5 minute on the previous day. We will round that value. So I've rounded it to 4. Renko indicators used is Renko chart and EMA. Renko is not actually an indicator. EMA is an indicator. So let me add an indicator also. So I've already added an indicator EMA. Now this EMA is calculated on the closing price of Renko, not the closing price of candle. Okay. Now what is the trading hour? Trading hour is we will start the strategy at 9:20 and we will have some exit condition. So we will use the first 5 minute for calculation and all. We'll start everything at 9:20. Now, what is profit and loss tracking? So there is another feature that I've added, which tracks the PNL of each ticker. Now, as you know, this strategy is on equity stocks. So we will have more than one stock, let's say 10 or 20 stocks. So for each stock, I'll have a separate PNL. And if the profit and loss for a certain stock exceeds this limit, so right now I have kept this limit of 500 rupees, then we will stop trading on that stock. Okay. So this is what we will be doing. And what is my entry rule? My entry rule is when the Renko closing price is greater than the EMA. So you can see here, I would have taken long at this, around this point, because my Renko brick has moved above the EMA and I would have shorted here. This would have been like not a profitable trade. Like it would have given me some profit, but not much profit. Okay. So this is where I would have shorted. This is where I would have gone long. So it would have given me some profit here. So you can see I have gone long at 11:40 at 12:48 till 12:52. right? The same we do it for short and long. Uh, and what is my exit rule? Now there are three exit rule. Uh, Now I will be having a take profit and a stop loss. So stop loss will be 2 Renko break. Now as you know, 1 Renko break is 4. So 2 Renko break will be 8. So 8 point will be my stop loss and 8 point will be my take profit. This take profit and stop loss you can change as per your requirement and understanding, but that is what I've implemented in this code. Now there are few more exit condition. We will square off half of the position when the 2 Renko breaks hits. Okay. So let's say that I have taken a position. Let's take today's example. So this is when the market started. Okay, market started at around this candle. So here I would have done nothing. This is 9:35. Uh, okay, let's take here. Okay, I would have shorted here, right? So what is the price here? It is 1948. At 1948, I've taken the trade. Now I would have shorted, right? So my take profit will be this, and my stop loss will be this. Two bricks up, two bricks down. This is my stop loss. This is my take profit. So when the market reaches my at this level, this is 1939, I would have booked half of my profit. Okay. After booking half of the profit, I would have closed the position at around this candle or this candle. Somewhere here I would have closed. I think here I would have closed. Okay. And I would have longed again. Now in this strategy, the maximum number of trades that I can take in a day is 2. You can see maximum 2 trades per stock per day. Stop trading a stock once its profit and loss reaches 500. So here I've written 1,000, but it's actually 500. Okay. So we will square off 50% of our position when we reach our take profit. And once we reach our take profit, we will change our stop loss to trailing stop loss. Okay. So you can see I've written trail the remaining position until a Renko box reversal, opposite direction breaks form. So I'll give you an example. Let's take this trade. Okay. So let's say I've gone long here. Okay. Once the break reaches here, this is where I would have booked half of my position. Okay. My stop loss would be here. My take profit would be here. I've taken the position here. This is stop loss. This is take profit. Okay. And now when the market price reaches here, my stop loss will be here now. When my market price reaches here, I'll trail the stop loss to here. So what I'm doing, once my take profit is booked, that is half of the position is booked, I'll change my stop loss to trailing stop loss and it will continue to trail. Okay. We will do this till my stop loss get hit or we reach the end of the day. My end of the day can be like 15, 20 or something. Okay. So this is what the strategy is all about. I'll just quickly revise what we are doing. First, we are calculating ATR by using previous day 5-minute candle. Once we have the ATR, we are using that value as a break size. So in this example, I'm taking break size as 4. Let me check 4 or 5. I'm taking break size as 4. Once we have the Renko chart, we are including the EMA. Now EMA is calculated on Renko closing, not on the candle closing. My entry condition is if the Renko break, so this is like both long and short. This is the intraday strategy. We are going to take position and end the position by the end of the day. So if the Renko closing price is above the EMA, I'm going to go long. If my Renko is below the EMA, if it breaches, it should breach. Okay, it should go from up to down or down to up. If this happens, I'm going to go long. If this happens, I'm going to go short. Once I take a trade, once I go long or short, I'll have 2 brick as our take profit and I'll have 2 brick as our stop loss. And when my take profit hits, I'll close half of the position. When I say half of the position, it means I need to take at least 2 quantity or multiple of 2 quantity. I cannot take 3 quantity for this strategy, right? So if I take 2 quantity, once my take profit hits, I'll book half of the position. And for the remaining position, I'll trail the stop loss. So this is what the strategy is all about. So the parameters that you might have to change for this strategy is first the symbol list. Okay, so here I have given my own list of symbols. You can change it as per your requirement. And these are the main parameter. First is ATR length. So you can use 9, 14, whatever you feel like. SL brick represent 2 brick will be my stop loss. And this TP brick represent 2 brick will be my take profit, depending on whatever the brick size is. Per stock money. So if you have 10,000 to invest in a per stock, you can write here 10,000. If you can invest 20,000, you can change it to 20,000. And max loss per stock. So if the loss moves more than 500 for a single stock, it will automatically stop the trade for that stock. So these are the important parameters that you have to change. Now let me try to explain you how to use the code now. So once you click on the link, you will go here. You will see all the content that I have provided. Now, if you scroll down, the first thing is installing the packages. So let me just tell you all the packages that I'm using. First, I'm using the Fias API, Pendulum library. Pendulum library I'm using to deal with the time zone, pandas library, setup tools, numpy library. Now why I'm downgrading the numpy package, that is because I want to make this pandas ta work. Pandas ta requires this numpy version, that's why I'm downgrading the numpy package. Matplotlib library to disable the graphs, mpl finance to calculate the renko charts. So these are all the libraries that you have to install. Now remember, you have to click on this triangle to run the code, and you have to do this every day. Now the problem with Jupyter Notebook is when you run it, it works, but it refreshes everything when you run it the next time. That is the next day. So each day, if you're planning to run it on Jupyter Notebook itself, you have to run it every time when you're executing the code. So I'll just run the code and show you. This will take some time. By that time, I'll explain you the other code. Now this next code, I'm using it to get the support of async IO. In Jupyter Notebook, you cannot write asynchronous code, but if you write this code, it allows us to use the asynchronous code. If you are running this in a .py file, if you're planning to run this entire code in .py file, then you don't have to write this code. This is only required for Jupyter Notebook. Then here you have to provide all the credentials. Like first you have to specify the credential, you have to specify the symbol name. If you want to use this strategy on some other ticker, you can provide the name of the ticker. Just make sure that whatever your per stock money is, and whatever the ticker you have provided, the price of that ticker should be at least less than half of the per stock money. Like let's say you are investing 10,000 per stock. So you should not have any stock whose price is greater than 6,000. Why? Because this strategy requires minimum two quantity stock. So if your stock is 6,000 and if you only have 10,000, it will only take one quantity. So this code might break in that case. So only use, like you can use all the stock, just make sure the money, per stock money, is double the current price of that stock. Okay. After specifying the stock name, you can also give the strategy name. You can now, if you want to run this for the live market, just change this to live, and this will work for the live market. Like this remains the same. Also, start time, end time. If you want to start your strategy at some other time, end at some other time, you just change this variable. ATR length. Let's say you want to use some other ATR length to calculate the brick size. You can change this. SL and take profit, I give it to you right now. This is 1:1. So if you want stop loss to be 2 brick and take profit to be 6 brick, that also you can do. I leave it to you. Per stock money also you can change. Per stock loss also you can change. Right? Let's keep it to 500 for now. So maximum loss I can incur on a per stock in per day is 500, and the money that I'm investing in per stock is 10,000. Then this code. Okay, let me just rerun the code again. So I'll just click on restart session. Yes. Let me check if it is installed properly or not. Let me run it again. You can just go to edit and clear all cell output if you don't want to see any output. I think it is still installing. It will take more seconds. Now, if you scroll down, this is where we have to import all the packages. After importing the packages, this is the main code. If you click on show code, you'll see the entire code that I have used. If you want to hide the code, just go to view and hide this. Okay, don't need to run this. Once you run all the previous code, I think it is still installing. Then you just have to click here, run this. So this will run your strategy. Now let's say once you are done running the strategy, now you have reached like 3:30, the market is closed, then you can run this piece of code. What this piece of code will do, it will read the CSV file that was created by your strategy. And if you run the next code, this code will tell you how much money was generated the entire day. So I'll show you an example. So here, after running the entire code, I got this trades.csv file. Okay, so these are all the trades taken by my strategy. So there are a few stocks like Kotak Bank, Bajaj Finance, Kotak Bank, like, like I'm selling, I'm buying. Sometime I'm selling minus. So I'll show you example of Kotak Bank. See here, Kotak Bank, I'm selling. This was the price 1892. Stop price was this, take profit was this, and quantity was -4. I've sold it. Then if you look at Kotak Bank again here, I am closing half of the position. So I am buying half. So you can why how I'm saying I'm buying, because here I've written buy and the quantity is 2. So I'm buying half of the position at this price. So this is giving me some profit. I sold at 1897. I am buying it at 1891. So I've made like 6 rupees profit. But if I go to the next trade, this was my next trade. So the price has moved to 1888. Okay. So we started with 1892. We went to, uh, now remember, this is a sell. So if the price goes down only, then I'll make profit. So it has moved down. And then again it moved up 1888. So here again I'm buying 2 more lots. That is, I'm closing half of the position. Right. So you can manually look at all the trades. So immediately after buying my half of the position, I'm going short. So you can see again I'm selling. Why? Because then my sell condition got satisfied. So my sell condition got satisfied. So I'm selling -4 quantity. Okay. And this was the price. So after selling, again I have Kotak Bank here. So now I'm closing the entire 4 at the same time. So I think this is making loss. So I have sold. Oh no, sorry, this is buy. This is not sell. This is buy. So I've bought it at 1888. I'm selling it at 1894. So I'm making some profit. Right? So Kotak Bank, overall it gave me profit. One trade was loss. Half of the position was profit and the entire 4 quantity was also profit. So this is how the trade log will look like. If you want to see this trade CSV file, you have to run this code. This code will give you the trade information. Then this last code that I have given, also have that code here. So I'll just show you for this file. Okay, for this file I'll show you. I'll just do a copy path. I'll go to data. I'll just change the name. I'll show you the data frame also. Okay, I'm already printing it. So you can see this was the trades taken by me, and initial capital invested was 30,000. 3 stocks I have taken. Like if you see, I have Kotak Bank, Tech, Bajaj. Right, only 3 stock I have. So only 3 stocks I've taken the trade. 30,000 I've invested. I've got a return of 301 to 23, 123 rupees profit I've got. Number of trades were 17 and total traded value was 1,61,000. Right. Now I have another day trade. So this is another file called t1.csv. I'll just copy path. This was like some other day. So same, I have to just specify the address, and this code will calculate how much profit or loss we have taken. So on this day, again, I have taken 3 stock. Now these are the different 3 stock. Now this day I made some loss. This was the invested capital. This was the final capital. So I think I've made a loss of 100 rupees or something, 120 or something. Then I have another day, which is this day. I'll just click a copy path. I'll click on the trades and I'll run the code. So on this day, I again executed on 3 stock and it gave me a profit of 47 rupees. 6 trades were taken and the traded value was this. This is how it looks like. Okay, so you can manually look at all the trades too. Like maybe I can, okay, you can do this as a homework. I'll just show you one or more trades. I'll just click on open with, okay, let me do it here itself. So let's take example of Bajaj Finserv. Okay, so I'll just click on open with text builder. So this is Bajaj Finserv. So total, how many trades were taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades were taken. So initially it was a sell. So see, Bajaj Finserv sell -4 quantity. Then Bajaj buy 2 quantity. So I have closed half of the position. What time? So I entered at 10:05. I closed half of the position as 10:27. I closed the other half at 11:51. Okay. And at 11:51 again, in within few seconds, I am taking the opposite trade. So here I have closed my short position and here I am again, let me check. So this was sell. I have bought half, then again I have bought half, then again I'm going sell. Again I'm shorting. Again you can see the quantity is -4. I'm buying half again, so I'm booking some profit here. You can see too. And at 13 to 22, I'm closing the other half position. So this is how the 6 trade looks like. So any stock you write, which you want to trade, you can look at this file and try to understand how all the trades were taken place. I'll just repeat again. I think the first cell is done executing. Yeah, it is done. I'll just run it again. Oh, I don't have to run it again. I'll just click on restart session. Yes. I'll just click on see clear all cell output. Now no need to run it. Run this code. This is important. So I'll run this. I'll run all the credentials. Make sure you change your client ID and all. Change the symbol name and everything. Run this, and then you have to run this code. Okay, so you have to keep it running. Make sure that whenever you are running this code, after every half an hour or 1 hour, you visit this site. Otherwise, the site will automatically close. If if possible, try to run it in your local computer, because local computer won't stop in between until and unless your computer sleeps on its own. Now, once you are done running the strategy, once you reach the end time, you can click here. It will show you the entire data frame, and you can click here to understand all the how much profit and loss you have made on that day. Now that you know how to use this Jupyter file, I will also explain you how to use the same code in your local environment. So if you can just go to your VS Code, create a virtual environment and install all the packages. So these are all the packages you have to install. Once the packages are installed, you can create a file. So here you can see I've created a file called renkostock.new.py. So in this, I have pasted the entire code. Now, when you run the code for the first time, you will not have any of the other files. Okay, make sure you delete all the other files. Only the Renko, the py file should exist. Okay, when you run it for the first time, it will first create the access.txt file. Okay, it will ask you to verify yourself. Once you copy the link, paste the link, it will create the access.txt file. And later, once the strategy is satisfied, it will create a pickle file. Now, the same pickle file would also be created on your Google Colab also. So even here, you will see a pickle file. So when you run it for the first time, and when the pickle file is created, in that pickle file, we are storing the strategy information. Okay. So if you want to start the strategy from scratch in between the market, so you have to delete that pickle file. So you can see here, you will see a pickle file. Okay, so I haven't started the strategy yet, so there is no pickle file, but you'll see a pickle file. If you want to start the strategy from scratch, make sure you delete that file. Without deleting the file, if you run the strategy, what will happen? It will continue from where it has left when you stop the code last time. This is very important information. Like when you run it for the first time, it will create a pickle file. In pickle file, it will save all the information, all the trade information and all. When you stop the code and when you run it again, it will continue from where it has left. Now in order to do that, it will refer the data from that pickle file. But if you delete that pickle file and then if you run the code, it will start from scratch. It will think as if nothing has happened. It will look for the condition. It will look for the trades. If the condition is satisfied, it will take the trade. It will do whatever it is supposed to do. Okay, it will not have any historic information with it. Okay, and there are a few more files that will be created. This type of file will also be created where you'll see all the trade information. There will be a log file also where you'll see all the log information. If something goes wrong, you have to refer to the log file to understand what went wrong, when it went wrong. And yeah, I have also provided you this code, which helps you, not this code, which helps you to figure out how much profit and loss you have created on that day. So this code I have provided you at the end. This is that code. This code shows you the CSV file. This CSV file will be printed. This is the entire code. If you click on show code, you'll see these are all the packages that I've imported. Now let's try to understand the code now. So first we need the credential. So I've added my client ID, secret key, and redirect URL. You can change it with your own credential. Then this strategy name is Renko Stock Intraday. You can name it whatever you want. I've named it Renko Intraday. Then I have this list of 10 stock. All these stocks are from different sectors. So you can see this is TCS, which is from IT sector, banking sector, pharmaceutical sector, and so on. Now, if you want to run this strategy on a fewer number of stock, even that you can do. Exchange is NSE, sector type is equity because this is the equity based strategy. Account type is paper. If you want to implement it in the live market, just change this paper to live and it will be executing the orders in the live market. Now, if the exchange is NSE, then the time zone will be Asia Kolkata. Now, why have I done this? Because sometimes we want to execute our code on a server. So when you execute it on a server, so the server time zone might not be IST. So this allows us to change the time zone of the current file. So no matter where you run the file time zone will always be Asia Kolkata, which is IST. Now the start time is 9:30, end time is 15:15. Quantity you can remove because for each stock the quantity will be different. Then we have ATR length. So we are going to use the 14 period ATR to calculate the ATR. SL brick, SL means stop loss brick. Then we have take profit brick. We have per stock money and maximum stop loss. Maximum loss per stock. So you can change the amount of capital you want to invest in a per stock. Right now I've kept it 10,000. You can change it to 20,000, 30,000, however you want. And max loss per stock is 500. Now remember that this strategy requires to buy at least two quantity. So let's say you have invested 10,000 and the price of the stock is greater than 5,000, that is, let's say 6,000. So in that case, this code will break. Okay, so make sure you only select all the stock which is less than 5,000. So in this case, since I'm investing 10,000, so all the stocks that I have selected, all of their prices is less than 5,000. So it will at least take 2 position or 4 position depending on the price. Then we are importing the library. We are importing the Fires API version 3 library, Pandas library, Pendulum library I'm using to deal with time zone, Pandas TA to calculate the technical indicator, MPL Finance to calculate the Renko, NumPy package. I'm just importing it. Matplotlib is also, I'm not using it. I'm just using Matplotlib library to disable the graphing functionality of MPL Finance. Then async IO for asynchronous programming, Pickle library to store the data, time library to add pauses in between, a web browser to open the browser to authenticate myself. Then this OS sys library I'm using to close the program. Certify library I'm using to uh, solve the problem of SSL certificate, because a lot of time what happens when you execute the code, you get SSL certificate error. So just by writing this simple code, you can solve this error. So in order to use this code, I need to import the certify library. Then matplotlib library, pytz I'm not using. I can even remove this. Then I'm importing the logging library. Logging library is used to create a log file. Now this is how the log file will look like. I'll just show you. You can see this is how the log file will look like. It will say started, WebSocket connected. If there is a condition satisfied, it will print on which stock it is satisfied and which price we are taking the position. So everything will be specified in the logging file. So this is where I'm initializing the logging object. So I'm only going to log the info type of value. The file name will be whatever the strategy name is and whatever the current date is. Now why I've done this, because you will be running this strategy every day. Now I don't want that your current today's logging should be written in the previous day logging. So each day it will create a new log file. But I always suggest to delete all the files whenever you're running the code. File mode is append. Append why? Because I don't want to erase the content from the log file when I rerun the code in between. And I'm also saving the time zone, whatever the time zone. See, if I just click here, any log which is being written in the file will be logged with a timestamp. So this is something which might be important for me or you for debugging the code. Then we are checking if we have access token or not. If we have the access token, we'll read the access token. Otherwise, we are going to authenticate ourselves. So this code I've already explained in my previous video. This code will simply authenticate and ask for your uh, access token. So I'll just show you how this works. If I just delete this file, now I don't have any access token. If I run this code for the first time, it will ask me, it will take me to the browser first. I have to authenticate myself. After authenticating yourself, you have to copy this URL. In this URL, you have the auth code. So you just paste your auth code here. And when you press enter, it is going to create a access token file. See here, a new file will be created when I press enter. So I'll just press enter and a new file is created. You can see the file name is access and then that is today's date. Why today's date? Again, for the same reason, each day we will be having a new access token. So that's why we will be generating a new file every day. So this code, if you are not sure what is this doing, you can watch my YouTube video where I've explained the authentication step. Then I'm creating the date time object. So I've created the current time, I've created the start time, I've created the end time, and I'm printing the start time and end time. So right now, what is my start time and end time? My start time is 9:30, my end time is 15:15. You can change it as per your requirement. Then I've created two fires model object, one for a normal synchronous programming and one for asynchronous programming. Now, what is the difference? The only difference is here I have written the argument async is equal to true and here is async is equal to false. Rest all the things remains the same. Then I have created a variable list of tickers. So right now I have 10 tickers, but these are just the stock name. I need to create a string which is supported by the broker. So I have written a for loop which will go through list of all the symbol and it will create a ticker name like this. So as you know, in Fires, whenever you create any stock ticker name, it should include the exchange, then colon the stock name, then dash the sector type, which is EQ, that is equity. So this is how I'm creating list of tickers, which we will be using in our strategy. Then I'm creating a data frame. Now I will be using the WebSocket, right? So in order to use the WebSocket, I have to create a data frame with the different column name. So this is that data frame that I'm creating. So this data frame will have different column name like name, LTP, CH, average trade price, open price. Now I'm not using all this data point, but since I'm receiving these data from the server, so I'm going to save everything into our data frame file, data frame variable. So the variable in which I'm storing the data is DF. Remember, the real-time data that I'm getting from the socket is being saved in the DF variable. Because in my main code, whenever at any time I need the real-time data of any stock, I am going to access this DF variable. So this is where I'm initializing the DF variable. Okay. Then I've created some function. Let's go through all the functions. The first function is fetch OHLC. So fetch OHLC function will simply fetch the historical data. This will take three arguments. One is the ticker name, one is the interval, and one is the duration. Interval as in the candle size, like you want 1 minute data, 5 minute data, 15-minute data, and duration as in how much data you want, 1 day data, 2 day data, 3 days worth of data. So these are the three parameters you have to send. Okay, you can see I'm creating the data. I'm creating a data dictionary, and then I'm calling the fires.history function. Now again, this is something I've already explained, so I'm not going in much detail. You should just understand that if I call this function, it will fetch the historical data from the server, and then it will also calculate ATR. So you can see I'm also calculating ATR. This is something you can remove, but I'm still calculating it. So fetch OHLC is simply going to fetch historical data for a given ticker, where you have to specify the time frame and you have to specify the duration, how much data you want. Then we have calculate Renko refresh, which I'll come to this later because this is the most important function of this entire strategy, because this is where I'm getting the Renko bricks, because I have to convert a candle data into a Renko data, right? And this is being done in this function, which I'll come to in few minutes. Then I'm simply logging a string called started, which tells me that we have started the strategy. Then I've created two files. One is store file and one is load file. Store file will simply store the data, pickle data into a pickle file, and load function will simply read the data from the pickle file. Now, when I'm calling this, when I'm calling the store function, I have to send the data and I have to specify the account type. Now, in this entire code, I have given you the functionality of running the code in either the paper trading environment or the live environment. So when you run it in the paper trading environment, it will create a pickle file with the name ending with the account type. Let me repeat. So when you store the data, now you might be running the strategy in the live environment or the paper trading environment. So if you're running the data, if you're running your strategy in a paper trading environment, it will create a pickle file ending with paper. So, and when you run the code in a live environment, it will create a new pickle file ending with dash live.pickle. Right. So these are the two. This is the reason why I'm also sending the account type into the store function. And when I'm calling the load function, I'll simply read any file that exists in my vicinity, that is in my current folder. I'll just repeat one more time. So store function is used to store the data, whatever data we have, and load function is used to read the data from that pickle file. Then I have a function called take limit position. So this function will simply place a market order. Let me check. This is one, right? No, this is limit order. So I'm placing a limit order. It's up to you if you want, if you can change it to market order. I'll just show you the documentation. So if you go to Fires API, click on version 3, go to order placement, go to single order. You can see if your type is 1, it means it's a limit order. If your type is 2, it's a market order. So here my type is 1, it means it's a limit order. So when you're placing a limit order, you also have to specify the limit price. Okay. Like you can go for any, it's fine. Yeah, so this is how this function is working. Whenever I call this function, I have to send the ticker name, action as in I want to buy or sell, quantity, how much quantity I want, and the limit price, at what price I want to buy. Then let's go down before I come here. Now this code is a WebSocket code. This entire code is a WebSocket code. If I run this code, it will first call the open function. In open function, you can see I'm subscribing for some tickers. For which tickers I'm fetching? So the 10 tickers that I've shortlisted from different sectors, I'm going to start WebSocket for all the 10 tickers. And when I call this connect function, it will start the socket. Now, whatever data I'm receiving, you see there is a function called on message. That data is being received in this on message function. And in this on message function, I have made a global variable df. Whatever data I'm getting, I'm just storing that data into this df variable. You can see I'm just calling the log function df.log. Whatever data I have, whatever the key is, just update the data frame. So as I'm getting the data from the server via socket, I'm updating that data into this df variable. So remember that in this df variable, I'm storing the real-time data of all the stocks. Again, this is something I've already explained, so you can watch my previous video to understand this in more detail. Then I have a main strategy code function. I have a chase order function. Now what this chase order function will do, this will only come into picture when your account type is live. So if you are placing the trade in the live market, only then this will come into picture. And secondly, it will only work when you place a limit order. So let me explain you what I'm doing. Like when you place a limit order, a lot of time what happens, that the order never gets filled, right? And you don't want this to happen. If your strategy is satisfied, your order should get filled as soon as possible. But the disadvantage of limit order is if the market is away from the limit order, the given price, then the order will never get filled. So what I do in this function, I simply fetch all the orders from my order book, and I move my limit price toward the current price of that underlying of that instrument. Let's say the current price of the stock is 102 and I've placed a limit order at 100. Now market is not moving to 100, so my price is not getting filled. So what I'll do, after every 5 seconds, I'll move my 100 by 10 cent toward the market price. So if my limit order is 100, after 5 seconds it will be updated to 100.1, then 100.2, then 100.3. This I'm going to do after every 5 seconds. So what will happen, eventually my limit price will reach the current price and the order will get filled. So this is called order chasing. Okay, the benefit of doing this is we will get the fill as soon as possible. Like if you want instant fill, then you can go for market order also. But again, the disadvantage of market order is you will not get a best price. So you can go for any. If you're okay with market order, go for market order. If you want to place a limit order, then again, I have provided you a function which will allow you to get the fill as soon as possible. Now, if you remember in our strategy, we have to maintain PNL, right? So I've created a PNL variable, and this is my main strategy code function. I'm sleeping for 5 seconds and then I'm calling this main function. So this main is a asynchronous function. You can see I've written async. So in this main function, I'm simply calling the main strategy code. So this function is being executed again and again in my while loop, right? And I'm calling the run function so that my WebSocket and this main function should run asynchronously. Okay, you can watch my asynchronous video to understand how asynchronous work. I'll just give you a small uh, explanation like what exactly I'm planning to do. So I have a code which looks at the price, checks the condition and takes the order. This is one piece of code. And I have another piece of code which fetches the real-time data from the server via WebSocket. Now the problem with WebSocket code is once you run this code, it will not allow the other code to execute in a synchronous programming. But when you use asynchronous programming, when you use async IO library, then you have the flexibility to run both of them at the same time. Now, when I say same time, I mean to say concurrently. So first this will execute, then this, then this, then this. So it feels like both of them are executing separately, but what actually is happening is one thing is being executed at a time. But we get a feeling that both of them are executed, right? Which is not possible if you use synchronous programming, because once you start the socket, you won't be able to do anything else, right? And also I don't want to stop the socket connection, right? If you try to write your code inside that function, inside this main function on message function, that also you can write your code here, but this will reduce the frequency of the data that you're getting from the server, right? Now let's say the server is sending you data every second. If you write a piece of code which takes 3 seconds to execute, so for 3 seconds you won't be getting the data, and eventually your WebSocket will become slower and slower and slower. So you don't want to disturb your WebSocket connection. Whatever data you're getting at any instant, you should store it, and I should have another piece of code which should run on its own. Both the things should not be bothered with each other. Both of them are different. And at one place, I'm getting the real-time data, and in another code, I'm just checking the condition. If my condition is satisfied to buy, sell, trail, or whatever I want to do. right? Now, what is my other code? So this is my first code, which is executed as per the socket. And this is my other code, which is main strategy code. So inside my main strategy code, first I'm importing few variable. I'm importing them as a global variable, that is global df paper info and real info. So I've written a simple while loop. I'm getting the current time, whatever the current time is. And then I have written multiple conditions. So each condition is responsible for something. So the first condition is close the program 2 minutes after the end time. Now let's say we have reached the end time. So after 2 minutes, I want to close the program. So this is the code that will be executed. So if my current time is greater than end time plus 2 minutes, I'm going to call this exit function. So everything will be stopped. Then I want to get current PNL and chase order after every 5 seconds. So this code that I have selected will be executed after every 5 seconds. So after every 5 seconds, I'm not only going to chase the order if any order exists, I'm also going to fetch the current PNL from the live account. Okay. So if I look into the code, you can see first I'm fetching the order book. And notice when I'm calling the order book, I'm calling the order book by using the fires async object, not a normal object. Because uh, when you call a any function, if you call any blocking function, so that includes the delay. Right now, this is a asynchronous function, or you can say this is a coroutine. The speciality of a coroutine is that if the coroutine, when you call the coroutine, so at if it will like it will take some time to send the request and receive the data, right? If it's a blocking code, if it's a normal code, so for that time your code will not do anything. But if it's a coroutine, then during the time of sending the request and getting the data, it can do something else, like maybe fetching the data from the server, right? So that's why I'm using the fires async object instead of the normal fires object. Then I'm converting the order book into the order data that I'm getting into a data frame. Then I'm calling the chase order function, which requires the order df as in the current order book. And then I'm also fetching the current position. And from the current position, I'm getting whatever my overall PNL is. Okay. And if something goes wrong in this, I've added this code in try except so that it should not close my program. Because a lot of time what happens when you write some code, and if the code throws any error, your entire code stops in between. In order to avoid such type of situation, we use the concept of try except. So if something happens, your program will not stop, but you will come to know that what happened and at what time that happened, right? I can just write here log. I'm not doing it, but you can actually write a log here, that logging.info unable to fetch the order, and you can also print the reason why this happened. And if my account type is not equal to paper, then only I'm going to print the PNL. Otherwise, I'll not print the PNL. So this PNL feature is more active in the live environment compared to the paper environment. So this is my second condition. I'll just minimize my second condition. Then I have my third condition, which is if my current second is equal to 2. When I write current second is equal to 2, what it means? It means this code is going to run every second, every minute. Sorry, this code will be running every minute at the second set when the second is equal to 2. Okay, so in short, this code is being executed every minute. So what should I do every minute? I need to call this uh, Renko refresh function every minute, because candle data, the new candle data I will be getting after every minute, right? Until a minute has passed, my candle has not formed. So I have to wait till the entire minute has passed, and then I have to fetch the historical data, right? After fetching the historical data, I need to call this Renko refresh, candle Renko refresh function, which will convert the candle data into the Renko data. I'll come to this in few minutes, don't worry. But this is what I'm doing. After every 2 minutes, I'm fetching the historical data, candle data, converting it into Renko and checking for the condition. Just updating the variable. That's what I'm doing. Okay, I'll come to this again in few minutes. Then run the strategy. Now, if so this is last condition, which is if my data frame is not empty, it means if I'm getting some data from the WebSocket, then just call this paper order or real order function depending on the account type. So if my account type is paper, I'll call the paper order function. Otherwise, I'll call the real order function. Okay. Now everything else I have explained. The only two things I have to explain now is this paper order real order function. Okay. Now both of them are exactly the same. In paper order function, I'm writing the trades into the CSV file, whereas in real order function, along with writing the trades in a CSV file, I'm also placing a real order into the market, right? So both of them are almost same. This is one thing that is remaining, and the other thing is candle Renko refresh. Okay, now first let me explain you the candle Renko refresh function, and then I'll move to the paper order function. Let's understand the candle Renko refresh function. So if you go inside the function, first I'm printing candle Renko refresh. Now remember, we need to run this function every minute. So after every minute we will run this because the candle is formed after every minute. That's why. Uh, Now after every minute, I'm going to call this fetch OHLC function. Fetch OHLC function will give me the candle data. So what is the duration? So I'm fetching 1 minute data for 2 days. So for 2 days, I'm going to fetch 1 minute data. Then I have created a dictionary called calculated values. I'm using the matplotlib library. Now this line 227 and 229 is only to close the graph because I don't want to see the graph. That's why I'm using this matplotlib library. Now mpf.plot function I'm using to calculate the Renko chart. So here you just have to type the Renko, just specify the type as Renko and send the data, and you will get the Renko data in your calculated value variable dictionary. So whatever value I get, I just convert it into a data frame. Okay. Now when you run this for the first time, you will get a data frame like this. So you will get a Renko brick column. So this is the Renko brick column. Then we have Renko dates column. So this is the dates on which date the Renko brick is calculated. Now this is the Renko size, brick size 1.38. Then there are a few more columns which are not important. Okay. So the most important column is brick, Renko brick, and Renko dates and Renko size. These are the three important columns that we will get. Now, after getting this data frame, I am going to create another column called position count. Now, position count tells me how many bricks have formed till now. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm at this brick right now. So till at this brick, how many positive bricks we have? We have 4 positive bricks. So the number will be 4. Let's say I'm here right now. So how many negative bricks we have? We have 2 negative bricks. Let's say I'm here at this point. So I have 4 negative bricks. So in order to calculate this number of brick, I have created a function called count brick. And the count brick will simply count how many bricks we have. So if you go to the data frame, I have a column called count brick. You can see it always changes. It goes to -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. It means it at this time there were total -5 brick, and then it's changed to 1. It means now we have +1 brick, then -1, -2, -3. This is how the position count is calculated. Then I'm calculating EMA. Now this EMA is calculated on this Renko closing price, this Renko brick price. So this Renko brick means it's a Renko closing price. So on this closing price, I'm calculating the EMA the same way how TradingView and this website is calculating. So this EMA is calculated on the Renko closing prices. Okay, so I'm just calling ta.ema function and I'm getting this EMA data. So you can see I have a column called EMA which is calculated by using Renko brick as the input. Now I've created another column called trend. Now what is trend? My trend is if my EMA is greater than Renko brick, it means it is downtrend. Otherwise it is uptrend. Now you can see here, if my closing price is greater than the EMA, if my closing price is greater than the EMA, it's uptrend. And if it is less than the EMA, it is downtrend, right? So that is what I've done here. So here I have another column called uptrend and downtrend. See, this is the trend column. You can see when I say uptrend, it means this is my EMA value and this is my brick value. This is 688. This is 685. So Renko brick is greater than the EMA, right? So that's why I'm saying it is uptrend. And when will I say it's a downtrend? So here you can see this is 685 and here we have 684. So Renko brick is less than the EMA. So it means what? It means we are in the downtrend. So this is how I'm calculating the trend column, right? So I'm just saving this into the CSV file to show you. You can comment and uncomment this. And this is n brick. Like I'm just calculating how many bricks we have till now. And I'm returning this data. Now what I'm returning three things. One is the number of bricks that I have till now. One is the last price, like what is the last brick price. And one is the Renko DF, that this entire data frame that you see, I'm sending it here. So if you go to my main function, I have written this code which should execute after every 2 minutes. After every minute, that is at every second. Right, when the second is equal to 2, that is when this code will be executed. I'm going through list of all the tickers. I'm getting the brick size first. Once I get the brick size from the paper info or the real info variable, I'm calling this candle Renko refresh function. So this candle Renko refresh function will simply return me this data. Three data it will return. One is brick number, one is brick last, what is the last brick size, and one is the Renko DF. Now, from all the three data, the last one is important. This Renko DF is important because from this you can get the other two data easily, right? So this is how this Renko candle Renko refresh function is working. Now, if you scroll down, I have another code that is, if my account type is paper, run this code, else run this code. Now, what do I have here? If my account type is paper, I'm going to load the data. I'm going to load the data from the pickle file, because two things might happen. One is you are running this code for the first time. When you run this code for the first time, this code will throw an error. Why? Because there is nothing to read. You are running this for the first time. But if you are running it in between the market, like you have started the code, you have stopped the code for some reason in between, and you're restarting the code, assuming that you want to continue from where you have left. In that case, this code will work, right? And whatever data you have in that pickle file, your code will read it and save it in this paper info variable. Okay. Now, what if you're running this for the first time? This code will be executed. Now, what is this code? First, we are creating the fill data frame column. This is the data frame where we will save all the trade information. I'm creating the paper info empty dictionary. I'm going through list of all the tickers. I'm fetching the historical data. Now, what historical data I'm fetching? I'm fetching 5 minute, 3 days of data, and I'm calculating ATR on this. Now, our strategy requires last day ATR. Okay, so first I'm fetching like 3 days of data, then I'm filtering the data. You can see I've written a condition that in the date column, get me all the rows which are less than the current date. So today's data will be excluded, and yesterday and day before yesterday data will be there. So from that data, I'm calculating the ATR. After calculating the ATR, I'll also get to know what is the current last price. Okay. So after fetching the last price, I have to calculate the quantity, right? Now this will be my initial quantity. Remember, there will be two quantity. One is initial and one is the current quantity. When I take the trade for the first time, the quantity should be multiple of 2. At least it should be 2. And when I'm in between, let's say I've closed half of the position, so my quantity will change from 2 to 1. So that will be my current quantity. Initially, current and initial quantity will be same. Once I close half of the position, my current quantity and initial quantity will be different. So how do I calculate the initial quantity? Whatever the capital I'm planning to invest in per stock, I'm going to divide it with the last price. Let's say I'm planning to invest 10,000 and the last price is 6,000. So if you divide 10,000 with 6,000, what you will get? You'll get less than 2, right? 1 point something you will get. So if that is the case, then I don't want to trade that stock, because my strategy requires at least 2 quantity to be taken, right? So that's why I've written a condition that if my initial quantity is less than 2, change the flag to 3. Now why flag is equal to 3, you'll understand. You can just give any number, just don't give 1, -1, 0. Other than that, any number you give, it's fine. Else I'll keep the trade flag as 0. Now I also have to change the quantity to multiple of 2. Why? Let's say the current price is 3,000 and the invested capital is 10,000. Now when you divide 10,000 with 3,000, you will get the quantity 3. Now how will I close half of this 3 position? It is not possible. So what I'm doing here on this line 326, I'm converting that 3 to 2. Okay, I'm converting the given number into multiple of 2. That's what this line is doing. Okay. Now after doing all this, I'll update my paper info variable. So these are all information I need. First, I need the trade flag, which will be initially 0. 0 trade flag represents I have not taken any trade. Entry price, whatever price I enter. Then stop price, profit price, initial quantity, whatever the initial quantity is. Current quantity will be initially 0. Initial quantity will be something. Current quantity will be initially 0, because current quantity will update when I take a position. Before taking the position, my current quantity is equal to 0. Stop price will be 0, PNL will be 0, position will be 0, brick size will be whatever the current ATR is. Brick number, again, these information are not that important, but I'm still storing it. So this is how I'm saving the data into my paper info variable. Now, if you click on else, the same thing I'm doing for real info variable. So nothing changes in paper and real, everything remains the same. The only difference is in my paper order function, I'm not placing an order, but in real order function, I'm actually placing the order to the broker. Right now, let's go inside the paper order function. I'll just explain one. You will see that both of them are the same. So in paper order function, I have created this global variable called paper info. I'm getting the current time, whatever the current time is. If my current time is greater than start time, only then I will do something. Otherwise, I'll not do anything. So this is the first check I'm going to do. Once the current time is greater than the start time, then we will go through list of all the tickers, right? We have 10 tickers, so we have to loop through all of them. After looping through all of them, I'm going to get all the required data. Now, what all data is required? First data is what is the current price, or you can say the last price. And from where can I get the last price? From DF variable. Remember, the socket data that we are getting is being saved in the DF variable. So from that data, I'm getting the LTP price. Then the Renko DF, the candle data that is being converted to Renko data frame, that data frame is Renko DF, right? Okay. Then we have a trade flag. Initially, trade flag will be 0. We will update this when we do something in the strategy. Then we have brick size. Brick size will differ from ticker to ticker. Current quantity initially will be a multiple of 2. Initial quantity, initial quantity will be multiple of 2. Current quantity will be initially 0. Then stop price. If I have taken a trade, there will be some stop price. Otherwise, it will be 0. Entry price will also be 0. Number of trade will also be 0. Now remember that the maximum we can take a trade, number of trade is how much? 2, right? Maximum 2 trades we can take. So that's why I have made a variable called number of trade. So initially it will be 0. You can see in my data, I have another variable called number of trade. Now whenever I take a trade, I'll update this variable. So the moment this number of trade is 2, then I know that I don't have to take any trade. This information also needs to be saved, which I'm saving in the pickle file. Okay. After reading all the data, then I have some condition. Okay. So these are all the condition. The first condition is end time condition. Let's go through the end time condition first. So what is my end time condition? That if my current time is greater than the end time. If my current time is greater than the end time, it means we have reached the end time. We have to close the position. Now, before closing the position, we should know if the position is open or not. And how will I know if the position is open? By looking at the trade flag. Remember that my trade flag will be initially 0. And whenever I take a position, if my position is long, it will be 1. And if my position is short, it will be -1. So I'm checking if my trade flag is 1. If my trade flag is 1, then I'm closing the long position. When I say closing the long position, in the paper info variable, what do I mean? I mean to say that I have to update the paper info variable. I have to write this data to the CSV file. That's all I will do. And I'll also log this information. And then I've written continue. So the loop will run again. The same thing we will do for the short position. If my trade flag is equal to -1, it means we have to close the short position. I'll update the trade paper info variable. What all things I will update? First, I'll update the trade flag. If my trade flag is equal to -2, it means I don't have to do anything on this. And my current quantity also I'll change it to 0. Two things I'm changing when my exit condition is satisfied. Exit condition, that also the exit time condition. Okay. And then I'm updating the fill data frame and I'm logging this information to the log file. So this is what we will do when our exit condition is satisfied, the exit condition of end time. Then I have the update PNL code. Now, each time when I execute the code, I also need to keep a track of what is the current PNL, right? So how will I check the PNL? I need to do two check first. First is that my trade flag should not be equal to 0. If my trade flag is not equal to 0, it means I've taken a position, and my last price should be some value. It should not be NaN value. If both the conditions are true, then I'll check I'll keep track of what is the current PNL. Now, how will I keep a track of the current PNL? First, I need to check again my trade flag is equal to 1. So there are two things, right? Either I am long or I am short. So this code is for long, the other code is for short. If I'm long, that is if my trade flag is equal to 1, then my PNL will be what? My PNL will be whatever the last price is minus the entry price into quantity. This will tell me what is the current PNL. I'll update this information into the paper info variable, and I'll write a simple condition that if my PNL is greater than max loss per stock. Remember, the max loss per stock is 500. So if it breaches more than 500, we will simply close the position again. Now, when I say close the position, I mean to say I'll update the data in the paper info variable. I'll write the data to the CSV file. In my real info function, I will place the order. I'll call the function exit position. I'll show you in few minutes. Okay, same we will do when my trade flag is equal to -1. If my trade flag is equal to -1, I'll subtract the entry price with the last price and I'll multiply it with quantity. I'll come to know what is the PNL of the current stock. I'll update my paper info variable, and if my PNL is greater than the max loss per stock, then I'll close the position. And when I'm closing the position, see, I'm changing the trade flag to -2. Okay. Now, this was the side part. Okay, that is the exit condition and the PNL condition. Now, this is the main code, which is checking all the condition. So I have total 3 condition for long and 3 condition for short. See, I'll just select, this is my entry condition. This is my trailing stop and long position for long position. This is my exit condition for long position. Similarly, I have entry condition for short position, trailing stop loss for short position, and exit condition for short position. After checking all the thing, I'm going to save the data to my CSV file. So you can see it will create a file like this where you'll see all the trades, right? And after doing this, I'll simply update my pickle file. So this store function will update the pickle file. That is what this entire function is doing. Now let's go through the actual entry and exit condition. So first is my entry condition. So what is my entry condition? My entry condition is that my trend should be uptrend. Now what is my uptrend? My Renko break should breach the EMA. That is my uptrend. This I've already coded in my candle Renko refresh function, right? So if this is uptrend and my trend is -2 in the previous break. It's better if I show you on a ticker itself. So let's take TCS. I'll change this to Renko. I'll click on auto. We will be. I'll just add a EMA indicator. So you can see when my break breaches the EMA, this is my short condition. Here my short condition is satisfied, and here my long condition is satisfied. So this is what we are doing. If in the previous break, if in the current break it is uptrend and in the previous break it is downtrend, so it means the trend has changed, right? If this is the case, and my trade flag should be 0. Trade flag represent that I have not taken any trade and the number of trade is less than 2. Okay, if all the conditions are satisfied, then we are going to take a position. Now, when I say take a position, what do I mean? It means first I have to increase the number of trade. I have to update the number of trade information, because initially when I started the strategy, my number of trade was 0. Now that I'm taking the first trade, I'll update the number of trade variable and I'll update the paper info variable. In paper info, what all things I'm updating? I'm updating the trade flag. I'm updating the entry price. I'm updating the stop price. Stop price is nothing but last price minus the brick into brick size. SL brick into brick size. Then profit is also the same. Last price plus take profit into brick size. Current quantity is equal to initial quantity and number of trade is equal to 1. Right. And then I'll save all this information into the CSV file and I'll log this into the log file. This is my entry condition. Now, once you have entered, what will be your flag? Your flag has changed to 1. So my trailing condition will be checked now. So the first trailing condition is that trade flag should be 1. And when will my trade flag will be 1? When I take the position, when my entry condition is satisfied. Once my entry condition is satisfied, trade flag is equal to 1. So now I'll check the trailing stop condition. So trailing stop condition is the trade flag should be equal to 1 and the last price should be greater than the profit price. Right? If my last price is greater than the profit price, only then I will close half of the position and then do the trailing, right? So that's what I'm doing. If my last price is greater than the profit price, I have to check for 2 things. First thing is my current quantity equal to initial quantity? What is this condition? Now, I'll take you back. When we initiated all the variables, at that time we have 2 variables. One is current quantity, one is initial quantity. So initial quantity, we calculated in the beginning itself. It should be multiple of 2. Let's say the initial quantity is 4. And my current quantity was what? 0. When I've taken the trade, when my entry condition is satisfied, my initial quantity and my current quantity, both of them are 4. Right? And when I hit my take profit for the first time, at that moment, my initial quantity and current quantity would be same. I'll repeat. When I reach my take profit for the first time, my initial quantity and current quantity will be same. So that is what I'm checking. That my last price should be greater than the profit price. And then I'm checking if the current quantity is equal to initial quantity. If this is the case, then we have to close half of the position. Right? So before closing half of the position, I need to calculate the new stop price. So whatever my current stop price is, we'll change it to the new stop price. So my new stop price is last price minus the brick into brick size, SL brick into brick size. I'm updating the paper info variable and then I'm logging this to the log file. Now, if my current quantity is not equal to initial quantity, then what it means? It means that you have already breached the take profit once. Now, from this point onward, we have to trail, right? So we have to update the stop price now. Now, when will I update the stop price? I'll update the stop price when my last price minus brick size into the SL brick is greater than the stop price plus brick size. Now, this is something a little tricky to understand. Okay, so let me just try to explain you this with an example. Okay, let's take an example. So see, we have different variables here. We have last price, we have brick size, we have SL brick, we have stop price, and we have brick size. So let me just write all the variable down. Let's say that when I have taken the position, the price was 100. Okay, when the price was 100, these were all the parameter. That is, brick size was 2. Brick size is 2. SL was also 2 brick. Okay, SL brick is also 2. And my stop price was, let's say, 96. Right? So if you multiply brick size with SL, you will get 4. If you subtract 4 from 100, it means it is 96. So my stop price was 96. Now, when will I trail? If this 100 moves to 101, I will not trail. If it moves to 102, I'll not trail. I'll trail when it moves to 103. So let's say the current price is 103. Now I'll just write this formula that I've written, last price minus brick size. So I'll write last price minus brick size into brick size, SL brick is greater than stop price plus brick size. Okay. So last price I'm saying it is 103. So if this is 103 minus, this will be 2 into 2 greater than stop price is 96 plus this is 90. This will be brick size is 2. Right. So 103 minus 4 should be greater than 96 plus 2. So 103 minus 4 is how much? It is 99. Right? Should be greater than 98. So 99 is greater than 98. Only then I will trail. So if this 100 moves to 103, only then I will trail. Otherwise, I will not trail. So there is a minimum movement of 2 points. Right? Now, if this is the case, if this condition is true, and if my current price is 103, what should be my new stop loss? My new stop loss should be, you can see new stop loss is equal to last price minus SL brick into brick size. So last price is 103, right? So my current stop price is equal to what? Is equal to last price is 103 minus SL brick. SL brick is 2 into brick size is again 2. So 103 minus 4. 103 minus 4 is 99. So my new stop loss will be 99. Initially, it was 96. Now I'll change it to 99. 99 or 98, whatever. Okay, so this is how we do the trailing part. So I'll just log this information that updating the stop price. I'll just log the current stop price, the new stop price and everything. And this is what we will do for the trailing condition. Then I have another condition, that is exit condition. Now, when will I exit? When the current price touches the stop price. This is my other exit condition, right? So this was my entry condition. This was my trailing condition. This is my exit condition. So first thing is my trade flag should be 1. Trade flag 1 represent that I have taken the trade, and my last price should be less than the stop price. Last price should be less than the stop price. This is the case. We will close the position. When I say close the position, I'll update the trade flag to 0. I'll update the current quantity to 0. Now notice here I'm updating the trade flag to 0 when this condition is satisfied. But when my time condition is satisfied, when my exit time condition is satisfied, I'm changing this flag to 2. Why? Because when I change the flag to 2, it means I will never take the trade on this sticker. But if I change the flag to 0, it means I can still take a trade again. Because what our strategy demands to take maximum 2 trades. So now I would have closed one position, but I still have the option of taking another trade. So that's why I'm not changing this flag to 2. I'm keeping it to 0 because I want to take another trade. And I'll change the current quantity to also 0. Initial quantity remains the same. Current quantity has changed to 0. Right? Now the same thing we will do for the short position. So what is my short condition? My short condition is that my current trend should be downtrend and the previous trend should be uptrend. It means we have changed from uptrend to downtrend. This is the condition. My flag should be 0 and the number of trades should be less than 2 because I cannot take more than 2 trades. If this is the case, then we will update the number of trade. We will update the paper info variable. We'll write this data to the CSV file and we'll log this information to the log file. Similarly, we will have the trailing condition, trailing and the trailing for the short position. My trade flag should be equal to -1. See, when I take a trade, when I go long, I change the trade flag to 1. And when I go short, I change the trade flag to -1. Right? So that's why I'm checking here if my trade flag is equal to -1. If that is the case, then and one more condition should be satisfied, that is my last price should be less than the profit price. Right? This is a short position. So if the market goes down, then I will book the profit. Right? So to book the profit, I should check if my current quantity is equal to initial quantity or not. If they are same, it means this is the point where I have to book half of the profit. I have to close half of the position. Right? So I'll calculate the new stop price. I'll update the paper info variable. I'll update the data frame. That is, I'll write the data to the CSV file and I'll log this information. And if my current quantity is not equal to initial quantity, it means I've already closed half of my position. Now this is the time to trail. So this is my trailing condition. Something I've already explained, the exact same code just by minor difference. Right? And then we have the last exit condition. In exit condition, what is the exit condition? That trade flag should be equal to -1 and last price should be greater than the stop price. If my last price breaches the stop price, then I have to close the position. Now here when I'm closing the position, I'll change the flag to 0 instead of 2. When I change it to 2, it means I'll never take a trade. If I change it to 0, it means there is a possibility of taking the trade again. And the current quantity will also be equal to 0. I'll update the paper info variable and I'll write this to the log file. So this is how the entire strategy is being coded. Now, the exact same thing I've copied in real order function. The only difference will be here I will place a real order. So let me show you. So here, when my exit time is, when my end time condition is satisfied, here I'm calling a function. See, there is a function called exit position. I'll exit the position for that ticker. Similarly, here also I'm calling the exit position. And when my entry condition is satisfied, here I'm calling a function take limit position. So this will simply place the order. Now you can change the limit order function, this take limit position function to limit order or market order. It's up to you. If you can even do the market order. See, I'm calling the same function here everywhere. Wherever I'm taking the trade, I'm calling the take limit position function. So here also I'm calling the take limit position. When my exit condition is satisfied, there I'm calling the exit position function. And everything else remains the same. So this is how the entire code looks like.